If it's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's LinkedIn Live, Hour of Empower. The keyword today is compliment with an I, even though I kind of wrestled with the one with the E, and it could actually go either way. So Kelly will be joining us, has a little technical issue. I'm so proud and honored to have Kinga here today. I know you know her by all of her wonderful comments. Plus, if you have an opportunity to see her profile, you could see how aligned she is with the intent of the show. So, with that said, I'll turn it over to Kinga. She can say hello, and then we'll just start rolling. Chat's open. We depend on you to direct our conversation. We want to be as relevant as possible. And we want you to be the main focus, which you are, of the show. So, with that, Kinga, what do you
All right.
think?
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to finally be in front of everybody. It has just been such a fun time being part of this family. I really feel like I am. And so just thrilled to be here and excited for Kelly to figure out her technical issues and join us up on stage here. And so I am authoring a book and excited about this word compliment because I think it's a pretty important word as we talk about things like how we recognize one another and how we work together in teams and partnerships. So,
Well, that's great, Kinga, because when I think a compliment, I think along the same lines is adding to something is a compliment or
yeah.
returning something. But you're in the process of providing either a nice word to someone, maybe a gift that's considered a compliment, and at the same time, you know, it creates a reciprocal type relationship. If you say thank you and someone doesn't say welcome, that's probably where the conversation's going to end. But if you say welcome, it could be, hey, where you from, or what are you doing today? Whatever it is, it's a starter
Yeah.
and a finisher, I guess. So, it ends one exchange of goodwill of some sort with that. So before we get back, let's recognize our audience. Omar's here. Omar was just great yesterday with Rita Wirtz from Eugene, Oregon. And Omar's got some really great initiatives and projects. He helps kids and he's got his own game show. And I'm looking forward to supporting that. So thank you again, Omar. And Omar will be back. Aharon is here. Great to see you, Aharon. Here's a new name. See new names every day. We're so appreciative. Limpo is here. Thank you so much. Good morning back to you, Hannah, who I haven't seen before. Thank you for coming. I guess Kinga knows Hannah. How do you know Hannah, Kinga?
Hannah and I used to work together. She's a good friend of mine.
Well, great.
Hey,
And,
Hannah.
new people on the show bring new people to the show. And when any two circles join, each circle gets bigger. And on LinkedIn, it's so surprising that there's so little overlap between your connections and someone else's, even though you might be doing the same thing in the same industry. So when you bring two people together, about 80% of unknowns meet each other and the other person. So there's leverage in collaboration and doing things collectively. And this show actually leverages 40, 50 people of knowledge share across, within, back to us and back to you. Kind of like a beach ball, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you get it, you toss it to someone else. You don't just hug it and wait a half an hour.
Yeah.
Not going to keep going that way. So, what do you think about the audience and old friends coming to see you?
This is, I mean, this community honestly has changed things for me. This has absolutely been one of these communities that I have been promoting since I really had a shift a couple months ago where I was feeling like I was just kind of putting myself out there. You know, a lot of us are posting and maybe waiting on those compliments, waiting, hoping that somebody's noticing us, and hoping that somebody is feeling the energy that we're wanting to receive, and waiting for that validation. And when I started joining your show, of course, I didn't know you, I didn't know anybody else. And the amount of love that I started feeling right away, because it was just this energy of, we're all here to really celebrate one another, and to see the value in one another and to appreciate that. And you can feel that right away. And I was like, I'm going to be a part of something like that, you know. And it's been so genuine. And so I noticed that every time I show up, you see all of these good mornings, and everybody's excited, and a lot of times you're filtering through the compliments that are happening throughout the show. So it's been a wonderful time.
Yeah, and you know, you're such a wonderful guest because of awareness, of understanding that really the richness is when you have a chance to go deeper with understanding, with familiarity, with consistency, because those intangibles formulate your ultimate thoughts, right? The superficial gets seen and heard really quickly and doesn't change much. But once you could realize that at the end of the day, everybody's about the same. And if it's not this, it's that. If it's not now, then it's then, or when it will be. So why not build on rock? Right? Why not have a foundation that people show up every day? And that's the other beauty, is 90% of people are going to be here every day, because it's the same thing as 90% of certain people go to the gym every day. Right? And it becomes not only something they choose, it's something they need, you know, to make them healthier, to make them better. And you know, that's where compliment comes in, is you'll probably get a good compliment if you give a good compliment. You know, so when you're sitting there thinking, hey, I haven't been complimented in a long time, right? Then ask yourself, how many compliments have you given out in that time?
Yep.
Right? How do you start the flow, Kinga?
Yeah, when you give recognition, right, and it feels good. We think about, at least in work, it's so often about reward, and people immediately think about financial reward, and oftentimes our hands are tied, and there's only so much that we can do. And really, if you think about it, I oftentimes am like, just really seeing the value that somebody's offering and complimenting them for that, and letting them know that, hey, I really see you. I see that you're trying in a certain way, and you're adding value, and that you're, especially, you know, we have Hannah here, Mariana, a friend of mine, that they seek ways to help, right? And I want to always recognize things like that in somebody, because I think that's special and unique. And so when you compliment someone on that, they feel seen. And so anytime someone feels seen, it feels good, right? And they want to reciprocate. And so I think that just kind of brings out the best in people. And so it is this kind of recognition and reward system of its own. And it's free. It's free, and it feels good. So why not?
Yeah, I think that's excellent. You know, when I think about building, and that's what hopefully everybody's under construction, is how do you build, and what are your building blocks, and what complements you? So when you know, it's like Tetris. How does it all come together in a tight fit, and you can keep building on it? And I'm dating myself with that comment, but
I like Tetris there.
well, here's another thing I just thought of from what you were saying, and that's the beauty of what people say. It creates thoughts and ideas for other people that they wouldn't have had. So when you open your ears, you really open your mind. And how many times in your career or education could you form groups with your best friends? Right? How you can have best friends on your own show with you, with subjects that are important to you, because If it's good enough for you to say, it's good enough for everybody to hear who relates to it. And I think that's where people have to choose which venue they perform in or which ones they visit, because those are the ones they feel at home at, right? You don't want to be in a crowd that believes in everything you don't and is doing everything you wouldn't. It's not a good fit either way. And I think by declaring yourself as yourself to others who want to be themselves at the same time, because if it can take off most of the armor, you can free up a lot more space for what you can complement yourself with. And I think moving compliment back to yourself, while you're waiting for a compliment, do you give yourself a compliment?
Yeah.
Do you say, people, they say the number one thing in the workplace that motivates people is recognition. Pay becomes an entitlement over time. Get a raise, and before you know it, it's found a home somewhere. And now you need that to keep that where it is. But if you can work with recognizing yourself, and if you bought something that you really liked, do you take the time to take a picture of yourself in yourself and admire that? Because that's a dividend then for doing it. And then eventually you'd be surprised, as you compliment yourself, people start complimenting you. And you might even be showing yourself in a different way that allows people to compliment you, And I think that's building. Let's cover some more names. It's great to break it up and get people, people want to be seen. They want to be heard. That's why I put everybody on the screen so everybody can see them. And everybody should connect with everybody, or at least check out their profile. Why not? You might find somebody that could be a big player in your life, make a difference, and give you a chance. Nobody wants to be a taker. I'd rather be the giver. It's so much better. Hello, all. Matt's here. Down come the miracle. I don't have one, but want to pop in to say hello to you and all the miracles and the angels. Matt's an incredible gentleman. He's got some ambitious plans and visions. And that's cool. It's like seasoning. You don't got to take the whole dish. You could just spice it up a little here and there, see how it tastes. When you can take your time, you have more confidence than if you're rushed. Good morning, beautiful souls. Hannah says, always love comments. Exactly, Down. My best ideas come from listening and talking with people. It always sparks something in me. I don't create in a vacuum. That's so true and worthwhile, because they say no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care, and why not put that care out there, and maybe you'll put other knowledge before your anticipated or expected routine. Linda's here. Many never know exactly what's giving a compliment to someone might mean in just the right moment to give them the boost needed. So valuable, Linda, because you can never give somebody too many compliments if they're sincere and well-meaning. So if you see someone, hey, you got great shoes. I love your car's so clean. If you notice it, you noticed it.
Yeah.
Why not tell people you noticed it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kinga, please.
Well, I was just going to say, it's about being really observant, right? And opening our eyes, because there is always something to find worthy of complimenting and to make people feel seen. And there really is. So, it can be the small things and the difference that it can make in someone's day. And when you notice somebody kind of feeling down or feeling left out, and so when we're talking about inclusive environments and feeling safe, or feeling, in any kind of way that might be negative, it's such an opportunity. Even just walking down the street, we talk about that smile and that you get it back. That's a compliment almost, that, hey, you're worthy of smiling at. And so that's a complete stranger. And so you can take it down to that smallest form. And when you get in that habit, it really, you can just continue to kind of work on amplifying it more and more. You get more comfortable with giving compliments. And then we also have to practice as a society receiving them. I was reading a Harvard Business Review article that like 70% of us are not comfortable with the receiving aspect of it, and how we can gain more comfort level in the receiving aspect of it. And so I think that would be like a good cycle for us to kind of work on as a society. But it's just kind of an interesting way to look at it.
Well, and that is, what you said that stood out to me is it's the little things. When you cook somebody something you thought just for them, right? You heard they like macaroni and cheese or whatever it was, and you went out of your way, bought the ingredients, got some recipes, and you created it. Whatever they say about it made it worthwhile or made it less worthwhile in doing it again. And people, to your point, need to be observant, and they should. If you were on a treasure hunt and you had diamonds and gold all over the place, would you be looking at the sky as you're walking through it?
Right.
By finding ways to help people, it changes them in a way that now makes the experience and environment better.
Yeah.
Right? Someone's happier and someone says, well, thank you so much. Man, that made my day. That makes your day right off the bat. And then you really are in a good competition to say how much better can we make each other feel with the time we have together. And why not? You got two people's time, two people's thought. Who has the better idea right now? Who has the better joke? And at the end of the day, we're just doing it to hang out and have some fun. So it's not like a heavy thing, and compliments don't have to be rehearsed, planned. They can, and they're better off spontaneous. I mean, and sometimes you can compliment. Did you see that butterfly just now? Isn't that beautiful? And all of a sudden that's a compliment. So compliments are like paint. You can spread it all over the place. You can make it in so many different colors and styles, and you hold the brush.
Yeah.
And what are you painting on? So I'll hit the people. Dean's a great guy from Texas. I've got a chance to talk to him. Unbelievable story and storyteller. So you're always welcome, Dean. And Dean brings out the best in people by his inspiring stories. Somebody knows Dean. Here's Leslie Flowers, and she'll be here Sunday with Harvey. Oh, no, that's Matt. I don't want to skip Leslie. Stop by to say hello and offer. Look only for the greatness in others. You will always find it, and let them know. What an inspiring, thoughtful comment, Leslie. Thank you very much. Leslie will be on, like I said, Sunday with Harvey Tuck. And Harvey's just a great guy who moved to Sundays from Fridays. So great. Matt has, I'm sure, a big comment. Thanks for mentioning. I'm just listening. I prepare to go home for meetings. I really love your guest, Kinga. Today, smiles for her, very insightful, interesting, an observation of life while I've been listening. Well, that's a definite compliment, Matt, and it's a gracious one. And we can learn how we should compliment by watching other people compliment. So this is a modeling session too, and what I like, and I just thought of because of Matt, is you don't got to stop at a little. Like when I had a speaker I had attended, and the person says, and it was kind of like compliment, it says, thank you, how do you use it? How often do you use it? And you just use it and leave. And usually the best approach is thank you, and what are you thanking you for? If you get off a flight and it's been a great flight, well, thank everybody for such a safe flight. Thanks for making me comfortable. You're expressing yourself, and all of a sudden they'll be thinking of you that night because you're the only person who probably did it.
Yeah.
And you're passing them by anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I think about, I was on the phone with, I think it was probably my cable or my internet, and frustrating situations where something is messed up, and I'm asking a lot of questions, and I go, at the end of the conversation, I mean, they're just trying their best, and I'm like, thank you for being patient with me, right? And so even just that kind of thing where you're acknowledging, we got through something together, but I just appreciate that we kind of stuck through it together and got to the end solution here. And so I use that one actually quite a bit because I know, like, I'm tenacious. I want to get to the end result, and I'm not letting go, and I'm kind of making you stick this one out with me. So, you absolutely want to recognize. I think it's important to include that qualifying statement about what you're actually grateful for. Yeah, and I want to go back to the point about the making dinner, when you were talking about the mac and cheese, because I think so often when we do something for somebody, it's such an honor, right? It's such an honor to me when somebody does something for me. And so acknowledging that, and saying thank you for this thing, and really acknowledging the honor that they were trying to give you. That gift, is part of it. So, it is a compliment when they are honoring you. They were paying attention to the things that you like. They were paying attention to, hey, I want to make your day special today. There's so many hidden messages that they're showing you by doing something kind for you, that I think it's so worth that compliment back, to say you're a thoughtful person. You are, you put this work into it. So there's so many ways to compliment back, that are worth it. So yeah, I think that there's a lot there.
Well, and plus, I think you have to be future oriented because you think to yourself, who's the most fun to be with? Who's the most positive to be with? And if you get with a complainer that starts the get together, wherever it is, telling you about all their issues right up front, your issues are definitely not going to be at the forefront. You're probably not going to get a compliment. And you decide, do I want to continue? I mean, how good is a person who doesn't make you feel better for the time you spend with them? I guess that's a good threshold to look at. And you got to take care of yourself first in order to take care of someone else. You have to be worthy of a compliment, right? If you don't decide to show up as the best you can, the most authentic you, and the happiest you, because what's good for you is good for other people like you.
Yep.
Right. And what you enjoy, people enjoy. And why not be proactive and give the compliment first? And you always know what it is that you can kind of compliment. When I had my stores, a guy would come in and I'd see a big Western belt buckle. That's a lot to carry around every day if you're not into it. Or if you're selling a pickup truck and it was really clean and decked out, it would be so much easier to say, hey, that's such a beautiful truck. Can I take a look at it with you? Or how'd you get that belt buckle? And the process was make a friend before you make a sale. Take the defense down. Show that, hey, I'm here to get to know you. I'm happy you're here. You're welcome here. You're welcome to come back here. It's the here most people are looking for, and they don't know where it is. And if you tell them that you're already there, and we talked about that whole fable on acres of diamonds, and it's the same thing. You have diamonds everywhere within you, especially. And how do you want to make them shine? How do you want to project them? Kinga?
Yeah, and I think that this really plays into the LinkedIn strategies and things that people are talking about right now, and how you want to be kind of seen and presenting yourself, right? It was becoming, I think, kind of a self-promotional. People were really obsessing about the algorithm and their posting, and that became a little self-promotional in a lot of ways. And they were kind of losing sight of nurturing the relationships that they wanted to nurture, right? And so I was thinking about, what am I curious about? Who is it that I am interested in, and talking about ideas that I'm interested in? And I'm going to seek out these people, and I'm going to pay attention to the things that they're talking about, and I want to not only contribute my ideas, but I want to thank them for the contributions that they're making, because I do think that they're valuable. And so by doing that, I was actually developing these relationships, and I wasn't asking for anything, but I was starting to develop relationships with the kind of people that I was naturally curious about. So it was helping me lead this authentic life in a very beautiful way for me. So yeah, it's kind of fun how it works out.
Well, it seems like if you're on the right road, you tend to get to where you want to go, maybe a little faster, maybe a little bit more comfortable versus being on a rocky road somewhere or a mysterious road. And I think that's where people should be, is more clarity, more awareness, being more proactive. I mean, LinkedIn works if you work it. It's not a set and forget place. It's not putting a billboard up and hoping someone sees you, because there's 900 million billboards. You're better off buying a lottery ticket and knowing that day whether you won or not. And I think the other thing is you lead by example and modeling. I mean, I do so much every day on LinkedIn. I do 3 posts, a newsletter, a poll, a LinkedIn Live. I tag 150 people. And I do it in probably less than 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I know nuances, I know how to connect the dots, and there's so many people. I hate to say it, because I was even thinking about having a program like on one of these days on LinkedIn strategy or best practices. And honestly, I didn't know a person I could bring in to help me, because everybody's doing kind of, I'm not knocking it, because no, they don't give you a roadmap when you enter LinkedIn, and people are doing what they see everybody else is doing, and they're doing enough to do enough. But it's like night and day once you get to the other side, because tagging is a great form of complimenting. And how many people tag people? And why not? Because all it does is put their name out there in your post, and you have no idea how big a post can be. I mean, you could put a half a newspaper in one of those things. Now a comment's a little different, and a newsletter is even bigger. So why not layer it on? Why, so not to criticize, but to say there's so much more opportunity when you do the right things the right way. And then there's protocol, right? Is how do you comment? How do you return comments? And it's all about complimenting people. And what happens, because, I was in the retail for a long time. You can have 100 great customers. One person makes noise that day, in the store, and they become the only thing people think and worry about, versus the 99 that did everything just fine.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to really have kind of borders with who you want to put in the complimentary group. These people are people I want to support. If you get behind someone's activity on LinkedIn for 2 weeks and just ring their bell, and maybe they'll post 6 or 7 times. If you create the best comment of the day by showing you read their post or watched their video and point out a couple things, after a week, someone's going to say, I can't lose this person, because not only are they complimenting me, they're showing me off to everybody who's come here already and giving me third-party validation. So things work in that way, but there's more nuance. I think Kinga makes so many great points in that it's a process. People who don't have the patience shortcut it by spaghetti against the wall, right? It's like a lot against a lot to get a little, but you can find a little every day. And it's like having to hunt to eat every day versus building something that will feed you and others for a long time to come. So it's all perspective, long-term versus short-term. And the question with compliments is why? Why are you doing this? How many times did you ever say, this is way too nice, or this is way too expensive? Why are you doing this? And it's not to disagree. It's to understand and even be more appreciative. So with that, let's jump back into comments. Matt has a long one. Thanks for the message. So kind. Just listening. I'm prepared to go home. I think we covered that. Harvey's just great. We just talked about you, Harvey. You'll be on with Leslie on Sunday. Hello, Ron. I love the plant hangers in the background. Wow. And Harvey's a gardener, so that's one more thing you get to your credit, Kinga, is background. Dennis is here, always rhyming. Agree, giving reasons is very reasonable. And, it's nice everybody just picks up on it and says, yeah, I'm accepting it. I'm going to do it. Thanks for sharing your free time privately and publicly. I had a great call with Air Haran. Great story. Here's a new individual, Rohith. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing properly. Hello, everyone. Dennis comes back with, I am grateful for your daily awareness and awakening show. Help us stay in the know, not the no. For sure, Dennis. And Dennis is a great guy with so many years of terrific experience, Why not connect? Why not, pay a compliment to the people who are complimenting us and you, because the way people talk about someone else is the way they're going to be talking about you. The way people compliment other people will be the way you'll be complimented. They're giving you a roadmap, kind of a direction. Natalie, who's great, has been on the show twice, actually is coming back. We just exchanged text the 14th. Happy Thursday. Compliment is basically my middle name. I love to give compliments. I compliment my husband daily as he is a sharp dresser. And, it makes so much difference because fans are something everybody should have, especially true fans, that show up no matter what your show is. Harvey says, Tuck says, Donald Cohen, I like that. Make a friend before you make a sale. Find out what toy someone likes and then let them play. You want to move forward, and sometimes you have to help someone move forward to move forward with you. People say jump up instead of like, I'll just come down and meet you where you are and hey, we'll walk up together. That extra time is everything. They say some people don't go the second mile. Some people don't even go the first mile, and that's so important. And why not? Action is where it's at. Good morning, Rita and Eugene. I already mentioned Eugene, Rita, but Rita's great. She was here Wednesday. And just great person. You should get to know. Linda says is great when statements made before reading our post are kind compliments to know we are appreciated. Helps all feel like real part of the community. And I'm glad to be a part. And we're so happy to have you a part. And, it is allergic to people who are not into kindness and thoughtfulness and love. This platform, it's boring probably because there's not a lot of anger and screaming and all that stuff. And that's why I think this builds so well. Only 2.2% of people on LinkedIn are over 55. This show attracts, I'd say 70 to 80%. Why? Because a lot of people know what relationships were. They knew how having an open door and not living in fear used to be. And I think they want to go back to it, to innocence wherever they can find it. And clarity and purity. Rita, okay, we covered that. Natalie comes back with complimenting someone on LinkedIn in a genuine and warm manner can help foster a closer relationship. And are we going to do more of that starting today? Because when all the impediments disappear, right? When the ladder's up, the bridge is down, the highway's open, what are we doing now? You ever see a football player get open field? How wonderful that is to look around and know there's nobody around you and you're going to get a touchdown pretty soon. Why not? Why not score more touchdowns for you and everybody else? Rita says, if you don't know where you're going, anything will get you there. And if you don't know where you're going, you're probably already there. So, both of those work pretty well. Compliment, okay. Okay. Kim, I haven't seen Kim in a while. Kim's just a wonderful lady. Happy Thursday. Sorry I'm late. I missed y'all. Well, you can always catch it on replay. And, it makes it worth doing when people get so much publicly out of it,
Yeah.
and you can create a lot of private gratitude into public and maybe keep things going, because the last thing you want to do is be in the witness protection plan here, or the best kept secret on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so much better than linked out. Thanks for sharing and caring with your helpful shot. Dennis, always there. Great to see you. I like to acknowledge the expertise of people in my net. Anything, if someone wearing anything and you say, wow, I had Gretchen who's on every other Monday for the last like 7 months, and she can't help but go up to people and ask them where they got something, or hey, that is so beautiful, and it works.
Yeah.
See people smile for the first time maybe that morning, or maybe get out of their thoughts and get into the now with someone else, especially someone who took the time and maybe puts themselves in an embarrassing situation if they're not dealing with the right person, right? Because you never know what you're going to get, but you know what you're trying to get, and that's intention.
Yeah.
Kim comes back with, I can't wait to hear the replay from yesterday with you, Don and Omar. Yeah, Omar everybody's great, because this is getting like a community. Like I say, the people on the stage are here only visually, but to me, we're all in a circle together. We're two of 40 or 50 instead of two at 40 or 50. And who needs that responsibility? It's like shared responsibility is the best responsibility. Kim, wonderful word yesterday, wings. It's amazing what you can do. We had party as a word on Saturday with Melissa Cohen and Leslie Nidick, who will be back this Saturday again. As an artist, Natalie says, I also love to compliment other artists' artwork. Art is a compliment to everybody who's involved with it, from the creator to the viewer, and someone took the time again to prepare something, to hopefully throw themselves into it. They compliment themselves by doing it. It's not what comes from it.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to be everything, but hey, as long as there's another something, it could be. What's your thoughts, Kinga?
Yeah, actually, this is another way that I think about this word is, I was coaching a lot of teams and the ways that they work together. And the way that I viewed it was that we're there to complement each other, right? And that's the most innovative and strong team. And so I used to work on, this is a long time ago, where we'd have these like really thick competency ratings from HR, and you had this pressure to be perfect almost at 45 different categories, and you get dinged almost equally if you felt like you weren't great at everything. And I thought, this is insane. Like, not every job is requiring us to all be perfect in all these different ways. And I think we're more realistic today. And so saying, no, like, the people aren't like that. Jobs don't require us to be that way. And so instead, looking at a group of people and saying, well, how can we leverage, our strengths, and how can we complement one another in certain ways where we can become the most innovative, collaborative team together. And so rather than trying to everybody be perfect perfect, what does that actually mean, right? But rather than trying to reach some evaluation as individuals, really celebrating who we are as a united group, and ways that we can complement one another. So I like that that idea of complementing in terms of relation to one another.
Yeah, that's so apropos, because what I'm thinking about, like workforce, like you alluded to, that used to be justification for stability, security. And now it seems like it's insecurity, instability that people have to deal with. And what has changed in everybody individually's benefit is decentralization, is peer-to-peer. You don't need to ask permission or authority or access. You can create it and do it yourself. A LinkedIn Live show gets 24 times the comments of organic video, which is 5 times more than text posting. So you can take your effort and multiply it by 120 in amplification by just pressing the button we did today. And what I'm looking to do is create more shows, create a network, create events where eventually you get a community of an ensemble, right, of 50, 60, 70 players. And now we can say, well, who wants to fill a panel of 5 regarding this? And what I learned early on, which was interesting and surprising, but valuable, is when I started the show, it was more LinkedIn strategy, technical stuff. And a week and a half later, it was depression, anxiety, PTSD. And I said, well, this is where people need the help, because if they can't get their mind up and running and they can't feel excited about the next day with who they're going to be with, it's never what you're doing or where you're at, it's who you're with.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're with the best people doing the best things for each other, it could be cold, it could be hot, it doesn't matter. By the same token, if you're sitting in a mansion by yourself, feeling like that's all there is, that's where the rubber meets the road in a sense. And that's where we can all start, because we're all there already.
Yeah.
If people take off the facade, if they take off, why impress somebody? Impress people with who you are, or change who you are. You got 2 choices, right? Either shine in another direction that people will see it and appreciate it, or decide I'm just not shining.
Yeah. Be a better person if you don't like it, right? That choice is yours.
Exactly. There's a saying, don't ask for a lighter load, ask for broader shoulders.
Yeah.
And I think, that's so important, is you can strengthen up by what we always say here, or used to say more often, is if you can't do it, could we do it? Right? If all you need is 15 or 20% to make it right and get you over the hump, someone's sitting there with a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
And it's really support, guidance, insight, and someone who compliments you by saying, I'll find time for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're worth it.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to you, even if I may not be able to help you. Love when life works out, so can. Glad you came. Beverly, who is here and is coming back Tuesday. Good morning. So happy I have a few minutes to pop in. And, it's just like the gym here is, get here when you can. Stay here as long as it feels like you're getting value. But popping in is a compliment for the people who are already here. Right? And saying, I wish I had more time, credits to people who do have the time. And it's a treasure trove. You just got to bring a bigger shovel, and a broader smile, and everything works because of coming together that way. Dennis says being good is the first mile to help make others smile. Well, you're of the right, disposition, Dennis, because there are people who they live for that. Older people, when their grandkids show up or somebody shows up, the world becomes fine again. And it's the same thing as you find yourself, and then you'll put yourself in a position to be found, and you might find out you don't want to be found by someone else if you're doing pretty good on your own. Kim says, sincere compliments given and received feels amazing. Why hold back? That saying, and especially in business or any social setting, is, praise in public, criticize in private, right? And if you're going to say something, make sure as many people around that person hears it.
Yeah.
Because that's someone validating that person, or it's somebody that you say, long time coming, right? Mm-hmm. You worked really hard. It's great you had your day where people at least recognized you. And, when you get home and you show somebody the plaque or the award or $25 gift card at Starbucks that you earned because you were this, and that, that makes you feel important, and that addresses other people's concern, because most of the people don't really care what you do as long as you're safe and happy. And if you can demonstrate whatever you're doing makes me really safe and I'm just thrilled, then keep doing it, because that's not something that happens very often. Dean comes back with a new tech rolls out, Threads, LinkedIn, IMO will be the primary thread connect. I'm thinking about it, because here's the other thing about Restream. It connects to all these other channels. So right now, this is going live on YouTube. It's on Twitter. You know, you can put it on Instagram. So not only do you get 120 times the benefit, but now it's repurposed at the same time by 3 different vehicles, and then it's there forever to be watched. So there's so much to repurposing. Don't be a single voice mumbling when you could be roaring like a lion every day, you know, and waking people up in the best way possible. Beverly says acknowledging someone is paying them respect. It's the beginning of a relationship. You want beginnings, you know, and you want continuations of the beginnings. That's so important. Linda, thanks so much for the warm greeting. So glad you're here. Ambambola is here from Nigeria. Had a call with Ambambola about a week ago. Wonderful lady. Has her mother sit in with her sometimes. But just a beautiful person with great intention. So thank you, Ambambola. Rita, wow, I'm excited. Dennis comes back with thanks, agree, never too late to save the date and relate. Rita says, have a beautiful day, leaving for appointment. Beverly, compliments lift you up. It's so easy to look at what you've done wrong or have to improve. Compliments move you forward. Yeah, it just makes you feel better. It was my first time joining this live, and I must say I love the energy on here. It's so warm and positive. I love the vibration being raised. Watch me become a regular. We'd love to have you. And, you know, again, if this is good for you, share it. Why do you post? You're posting things you think people can benefit from or gain value from, but a lot of people feel if it's not them, there's no reason to post somebody else's. And my feeling is if you don't have something to post today, post something that you read and thought was worth sharing, and your audience will see you now without having to do the heavy lifting that someone else did. And plus, you're just recommending it, you know, and you actually look better because, again, what you're doing for others, people will think, well, you'll do for them if they can get your attention and earn your trust and your appreciation. Agree, being with the best people is the best advice. We're all with your show. It's all our show. And that's the only way this could have grown. I started this by myself, spending the first time was 7 minutes running around a track that nobody was sitting to watch, because you got to start that way. And only when one person showed up, and it was actually Tara Gooch, if you know her, and she liked the show, and I said, let's do one. And we did one for like 7 months. And then from her and so many other people, Gretchen, Jenny Maxwell, became regulars. And then everybody got visibility and got busy. And I love this as being a runway, you know, to learn how to do LinkedIn Lives, to learn how to do formatting and audience appreciation, and then create your own theme show and keep building from there. So, you know, it's your ticket wherever you want to go. I have to go. We'll check later. Thanks, Don and Kinga. Have a nice day. Thank you so much, Erharan. Kim, welcome. So glad you're here, friends. Love to bring friends here because half of it is seeing the same people you like to see being here, right? And you come for them, they come for you. You know, the saying, when you're up, the meetings need you. When you're down, you need the meetings, right? Yeah. And it works like that. Dean, going forward, the rise of the solopreneur doesn't mean we're alone. It's accepting responsibility for your future. So right, responsibility and accountability are essential ingredients to success. Not seeing all the comments, but thankfully Don is posting. Wow, caught up. That took a little bit. So Kinga, what do you think? This has been just a fabulous crowd. Compliment has been used in so many quality ways.
Yeah, I love it. And I appreciate too, and I think it's funny because I think in our first chat, you're sharing with me your journey through this and how you started alone. And I think that you choose guests because it does complement your ability to have a rich conversation and just like you're talking about all of these comments and having the community and that you're not looking for the Donald show. It's called the Hour of Empower. And I used to lead a lot of team meetings where I'd have 30, 40 people in the room and I was trying to get them to collaborate around something. And I would sometimes bust out and say, this is not the Kinga show, right? Like, this is not for me to be presenting this information. This is really for everybody to kind of rally around something that we all are trying to do together. And so I think it is the biggest form of compliment that you are inviting all of us and our opinions, and that you're showing how much you value all of us, and that you, with open arms, make sure that as long as we show up with the same intention of kindness and acceptance and respect, that we're everybody is welcome and that we're kind of vibrating this same type of energy. And that's a compliment to all of the guests here, that we all fit that, that none of us are, we don't really tolerate this negative energy, because I think it's come up before in previous shows that just naturally wouldn't fit here. And I think that's such a huge compliment to this show. It's why I keep coming back.
Yeah, no, and that's why I keep coming back. And, looking back, this is like 300 straight days in a row of doing this. And it's like having a coffee chat group come into your home at this time for an hour and just say hello, have a little bit of coffee and maybe some dessert or something. And it's a welcoming situation. And I think that's when people can turn something very worthwhile and productive into something enjoyable. Most people feel you got to pay a price to get something, but that's what people have done. It doesn't mean that's what they need to do. And it's a new world, and it's a new way of stepping out of the old world that maybe didn't fit you and you didn't fit either. And it's a good way to say, well, hey, if no one wants me, I want me. And I'll get around people like me who want to be with each other. And, there's so much power here. I mean, what Kinga's learned and what Kinga's done and what Kinga can do if given the opportunity. And if you multiply that by 40, 50 of us. And the next thing I keep promoting is we got to keep advancing, right? It's only going to be worthwhile if it grows, and it grows in the right way. Is it should be now, what does everybody want to do? What is everybody waiting to do? And can we put the pair up in that way? We've paired up with speakers, we paired up with words, we're adding 3 speakers to a show, and the more the merrier, because more exposures, you could go see a one-person show and just focus on that one person in a chair, or you can get an ensemble. And not only that, but you're playing with the players you like, right? And it's not a business meeting. It's not a vendor or negotiating something. It's like, hey, if all we do is have a little fun, smile, share a couple ideas, we're winners just for that. And if it gets beyond that, if one person creates some important pivot in your life or thought,
Mm-hmm.
it's unimaginable. And LinkedIn gives it to us for free. If the Super Bowl would say, have a free spot, people would say, how fast can I get it to you? Right. And let me just go back, because Paul's great. I've been talking to Paul quite a bit. Hello, Don and Kinga. My apologies for being late. I had an event to speak at. Grateful I was able to catch the end of the show and support you both today. I love all the compliments and positivity that this show breeds. And Paul's just an anchor here with support. He actually shies away from the stage more than you would think. Ambambola is welcoming Kim. Paul says, hi, Constance. Constance was here actually 4th of July. Great show. Dennis says, unity is in our community. Thanks again for reaching out to remind us. Dr. Constance, I love community inclusion. Thank you for saying that. Inclusiveness and diversity are key to openness and freedom. Beverly says, so sorry to leave. A little is always better than nothing. I have to pop out now, but there's always tomorrow. Thank you for another interesting show. Natalie says, oh, nice to see each other. And that's why I open this up to everybody and I promote everybody else's shows, the Hounds, Kelly and Christy with the Awesome Journey, Gretchen with the Flight Attendant. And they're all valuable because they're people who are coming from here in a lot of cases and bring the same intention so you can get more benefit and everybody grows and helps each other together. I don't believe in walls when you can open bigger, more doors for more people to walk through because they bring people with them if it's inviting. Shauna, great to see you. Good morning to all the lovely people here today. I'm just tuning in now. Greetings, everyone from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Thank you for being here, Shauna. I hope you come back and contribute and gain in the future with us. Don, sadly, most have never had that sit-down conversation over coffee with their neighbors. My mother's motto was backdoor friends are the best. And how much better do you feel when people are just hanging out together, having a coffee, sharing lunch? It's a break in the action. But you know what? What if you made it the action and not the break? Why don't you make it the default instead of the exception that shows up? And I think that's where people don't change gears fast enough. They, someone can say, hey, that's really been a lot of fun. Well, I'm going to schedule more of that, and if everybody moves and works together in a loving, caring, thoughtful way, it's now on you, right? If you get all your licenses and permits in order and everything's been approved, the bank's going to give you the money, you got to turn that key in the door and walk through it and start operating. Thank you, King and Now. Great shows, always compliments, boost self-esteem and well-being. Great word. And that's why the guests are getting so much better, because they're attracted to the energy and not the technology, not being an authoritarian figure as far as knowing everything and expecting everybody else to need everything they're about to deliver, because that's really that makes them worse for thinking they're better and then delivering worse. It's like if that person only knew how foolish they look and they're still acting serious, and I think we help each other by guiding each other without pushing each other. You can send a message with kindness that can be heard probably better than the one you say with a louder, angrier voice, because what it shows is you ran out of steam here. You couldn't keep it together, right? Yeah. The true self finally bubbled out. And so that's why time is everybody's friend in some ways and nobody's friend in others ways. And I think a sense of urgency is necessary when you see an opening. Yeah. If you're waiting for that door to open and it finally creaks open, it's like, hey, better get through it before it closes again. Maybe take a few people with you. So we're coming up on the top of an hour. It is the fastest hour on LinkedIn. I've said that before. Jeff says, Paul, I think we all have a hard time accepting compliments. I know I do. Well, that's just being aware. They say this, the healthiest people are the ones who seek help first, right? Because they want to be helped and they know they have an opportunity. It's the ones who want to hide it, run away from it, and they're never free within themselves. You know, when you run away from everybody, you're actually running away from yourself. And why not run back to yourself and then allow people in, you know, that may help you. But anyways, little by little, we're all getting there. I honestly can see over the months how many changes have happened to so many people in ways. I've had people say, you know, people are treating me different. They're looking at me different. I said, because you are different. You just don't see a kid grow every day you're with them. If you come back every 6 months and say, wow, you put on a few inches there, you know, and everybody's kind of muscling up here because they're seeing other people doing it like them. And they say, if that person can do it, what's my excuse? You know, it's easy to be the person on the stage, you know, and everybody's, wow, I could never do what they do. But if you look at someone who's, you know them all your life and boom, boom, bang, they're hitting the high notes. They're getting busy, because busy is where you want to be. Because when you're busy, you don't think about woe is me. You don't think about what you don't have. You're involved with what you are involved in and having. So I'll just cover Paul real quick. I always remember the show because it was the first show that wasn't about me. I didn't talk about finance. Now I get to applaud others for others and support in the audience. You know, that's the compliment, is allowing people to allow themselves to be with other people. You know, the definition of a big shot is a little shot to keep shooting, you know, and that's how you become a big shot. And you know, in the best way possible. Have a blessed day, everyone. Popping out. Well, it's actually top of the hour. I'm a little more respectful of that during the week. So with that, I want to thank Kinga, but also give Kinga last words about her experience today. And we'll see everybody tomorrow with Christy and myself and Kinga.
I guess my final words. You know, I had a fantastic time. You are all a wonderful audience, and keep loving each other. And thank you so much. And I appreciate you.
Well, that's been great, Kinga, having you. Again, tomorrow's Christy. Saturday, we have Leslie Nidick and Melissa Cohen. Sunday, we have Harvey and Leslie Flowers. Actually, Monday, we got Jody Lamb and Mike from the Hounds will be here. So kind of mixing it up, getting more people involved. So thank you again. Come back in 23 hours. We'll just keep adding to it. And again, thank you so much, Kinga. You were a real home run today, knocked it out of the park. So it's great to have you, and look forward to having you back. So with that, bye for now.